with automobiles.
Okay, so today we will continue practicing pronunciation with test 3, passage 3, and it's camp 18, the steam car. So Mr. Hưng, please, can you start with this one, the steam car?
The steam car, the
Car.
car, and
Steam car. Nó phải là
how
car mà
to
là
pronounce
car.
car and car,
It's not, okay, look at this word, please. It's
car, car,
car.
car, and car,
No, nghe kỹ.
car,
Car, chứ không phải là car.
car, car,
Nó phải là car mà là car.
car, car,
Car, not
car,
car,
car.
Be careful this one. It's car, không phải là ca, nó là o. Nó nghiêng qua âm
Car,
o chút xíu.
car,
Car,
car, car,
a car,
car.
the steam car.
Làm sao phân biệt được cái từ car này với cái từ thẻ nhỉ? Card,
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 card, chứ không phải là card nha. Nó không phải là card.
card,
Nó không phải là âm
card,
A kéo dài đâu.
card,
Nó không phải âm A thẳng đó đâu. Nó là car với lại card.
card,
Card.
card, card,
Nó chưa bao giờ là car, nó chưa bao giờ car đó. Nó là car.
card,
Car and
card,
card. Chứ không phải là car and
card.
card. It's different.
Oh,
Be
yeah,
careful with this too.
card. The steam card, the steam car
The successes and failures.
failure. The successes
Da
and
da da da
failure.
da 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 da
The
da da
the
da da da
success,
da da da
the
da da da
successes,
da 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 da.
the successes and failures of the double browsers and their steam cars were primitive automobiles first
Automobiles,
began
automobiles.
automobile when primitive automobiles first began to appear in the 1800s. There and there and their engines were based on steam power. Their engines were based on steam power. Steam had already enjoyed a long and successful career in the railways, so it was only natural that the technology evolved into a miniaturized version version
Version.
version into a miniaturized version which was separate from the trains. But these early cars inherit steam weaknesses along with its strength. The boilers had to be lit by hand, and they required about 20 minutes to build up pressure before they could
Pressure. Build up pressure.
to build to build up
Pressure.
pressure to build up pressures before they could be driven. Furthermore, their water reservoir only lasted for about 30 miles before needing replen- replenishment.
Replenishment.
Replenish, replenish, replenishment, replenishment, needing replenishment, despite short, despite shortcomings, this this newly designed self-propelled career carriages,
Carriages.
carriages.
These newly designed self-propelled carriages.
These newly designed self-propelled carriages offer quick transportation, and by the early 1900s, it was not uncommon to see such machines shuttling wealthy citizens around town.
Shuttling.
Shut- Shuttling,
It's a verb to shuttle, you know.
shuttling,
A shuttle. Shuttling.
shuttling wealthy
Shuttling
citizens
wealthy citizens.
around town. Shuttling wealthy citizens around town.
Mm-hmm.
When primitive automobiles first
Automobiles.
automobile when primitive automobiles first began to appear in the 1800s, their engines were based on steam
Steam
power.
power.
Steam had already enjoyed a long and
Successful career.
in the railways, but it
Railways.
was railway in the railways,
So it
so
was
it
only
was
natural
only natural that the technology evolved
into a
into a
miniaturized version.
miniaturized version,
Version.
version, into
Zhan,
a
zhan, 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 zhan,
miniaturized
zhan, zhan,
version,
zhan, zhan, zhan.
into a miniaturized version,
No, không có version.
version,
Không có
version,
run, không có
version,
run gì cả.
version,
Version.
version, version,
Chúng ta đã quán này rồi
version,
mà. Version.
version,
Zhan, 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 zhan. Zhu, 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 zhu.
version,
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 zhan, 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 zhan,
version,
zhan, zhan.
version, version, version,
Version.
version, version,
Okay, version.
in a miniaturized version, which was separate from the trains,
Which was
but
separate from
these
the train.
early
These early cars
cars,
inherited
but this, but these early cars inherited Steam's weaknesses, along with its strengths. The boilers, the boy, the boilers had to be lit by hand, and they required about 20 minutes to build up pressures
to build up pressure.
before they could be driven.
Mm-mm.
Driven.
Driven.
Be,
It could be driven.
before they could be driven. Could be driven. Furthermore, their water reservoir only lasted for about 30 miles before
Miles.
needing
30 miles.
30 miles
Y ngắn là
before
mile.
needing
Miles.
replenishment.
30 miles. 30
About 30
miles for
miles.
needing.
About 30 miles before needing replenishment.
Replenish. Động từ to replenish.
Replenishment. Before needing
Before needing replenishment.
replenishment. Before needing replenishment. Before needing replenishment. Despite such shortcomings, these newly designed self-propelled
Self-propelled carriages.
These newly designed
Self-propelled carriages offered
self-propelled carriages,
quick transportation.
offered quick transportation, and by the early 1900s, it was not uncommon to see such
Machines.
machines shuttling wealthy citizens around town.
Around town. Okay. Okay, let's try once again. It's still not really that great.
When primitive automobiles
Primitive. Primitive.
when
Primitive.
primitive automobiles first began to appear in the 1800s, their engines were based on steam power. Steam had already enjoyed a long and successful career in the railways, so it was only natural that the technology evolved into a miniaturized version
No.
into a miniaturized version
Version. Not
into
version.
into
Không có
into a
version.
miniaturized version
No.
miniaturized version
Đúng rồi, chính xác. Version.
miniaturized version
No.
miniaturized version
Không có version.
miniaturized version
Gần được rồi. Cố lên.
miniaturized version version version
Nói
version
version tao không hiểu đâu.
version
Chắc chắn không hiểu.
yeah,
Thà nói version đi cho rồi. Người ta còn hiểu.
version
Version. 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 Version.
version 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 version
Version.
version
Cái chữ Z đó xong anh làm cho thật nặng vô.
version
Version.
version
Version. Version.
version
Version. Version.
miniaturized
Version.
version
Đó, nó tốt hơn rồi đó.
miniaturized
Người ta còn hiểu
version
được. Version.
miniaturized
Version.
version
Version. Version. Version.
version version miniaturized version into a miniaturized version
Ừ.
version into a miniaturized version which was separate from the trains, but these early cars inherited steam's weaknesses along with its strengths.
Yes.
The boilers had to be lit by hand, and they required about 20 minutes to build up pressure before they could be driven. Furthermore, their water reservoir only lasted for about 30 miles before needing replenishment. Despite such shortcomings, these newly designed self-propelled carriages offer
Carriages.
carriages. These newly designed self-propelled carriages offer quick transportations, and by the early 1900s, it was not uncommon to see such machines shuttling wealthy citizens around town. Furthermore, their water reservoir only lasted for about 30 miles before needing replenishment. Despite such shortcomings, these newly designed self-propelled carriages offer quick transportation, and by the early 1900s, it was not uncommon to see such machines shuttling wealthy citizens around town. But the glory days of steam cars were few. A new technology called the internal combustion engine soon appeared, which offered the ability to drive down the road just moments after starting up. At first, These non-gasoline cars was unpopular because they were more complicated to operate and they had difficult hard, hand crank, hand,
Hand cranked.
hand crank, hand crank starters.
Had difficult hand
They
crank
had
starters.
they had difficult
Hand
hand
crank
crank
starters,
starter. They
which were
had
known to break
difficult
arms.
hand crank starters. Which were known to break arms when the engines backfire. But in 1912, General Motors introduced the electric starter, and over the following few years, steam power were
Yes.
gradually was gradually down, phased down. Uh, and over the following few years, steam power were gradually phased down. But the glory days of steam cars were few. A new technology called the internal combustion engine soon appear, which offer the ability to drive down the road short moments after starting up. At
The what?
first,
What moment?
the road the road short moments
Không hiểu. I don't
after
understand that. The
the road short moments after starting up. Okay.
Where are you reading this one, please?
The second sentence.
The, không phải the second sentence là sao anh? The
The
second sentence.
the the second
The
sentence.
second sentence. The second sentence.
The second sentence.
They
Which
offered the ability to drive down the
which
road.
offer the
The
ability
ability to drive down
which
the road.
offer the ability to write down the road short moments after starting up. After starting up, first, these noisy gasoline cars were unpopular because they were more complicated to operate and they had difficult hand crank starters, which were known
Known to break arms.
to break arms when the engines backfire. But
Backfire.
in 1912, General
12,
Motors.
1912.
But in 1912,
12, 12.
12,
But in
but
1912,
in
General Motors
1912, General Motors,
Motors
Motor,
introduced
General Motors
introduced the
introduced,
electric starter.
introduced the electric starter,
Electric cái chữ e phải
e-
mở, phải bặn miệng lên.
electric,
Electric starter.
electric starter,
Chữ
electric
e nó
starter,
phải đẩy cái lúm đồng tiền lên.
electric,
Electric
electric,
starter.
electric starter,
And over the
electric
following few
starter,
years,
electric starter, and over the following few years, steam power were gradually phased
was
down,
gradually phased out.
gradually,
Phased
gradually
out.
was gradually phased down. But in 1912, General
12
Motors.
in 1912.
But in 1912, General Motors introduced the electric starter, and over the following few years, steam power will gradually phase down. But the glory days of steam cars were few. A new technology called the internal combustion
Internal.
internal combustion
Internal.
the internal combustion engine called the internal combustion engine soon appeared, which offer the ability to write down the road short moments after starting up. At first, these noisy gasoline cars was unpopular because they were more complicated to operate and they had difficult hand crank starters, which were known to break arms
Which were
when the
known to break
engines
arms.
backfire. But in 1912,
12.
12
In 1912.
But in 1912, but in 1912, General Motors introduced the
Introduced.
electric starter, and over the following few years, steam power will gradually phase down. But the but the glory days of steam
Steam
car
cars were
were
few.
few. A new technology called the internal combustion engine soon appeared, which offered the ability to write down the road short moments after starting up. At first, these noisy gasoline cars were unpopular
Unpopular.
because they were more complicated to operate.
Complicated. But they were more complicated.
But they because
Complicated.
they were more
Complicated.
complicated to operate, and they had difficult hand crank starters, which were known to break arms when the engines backfire. But in 1912, General Motors introduced the electric starter, and over the following few years, steam power will gradually phase down. Even as the market was declining, declining,
Was declining.
this declining, declining, even as the market was declining, for browser make one last effort to rekindle the
Rekindle.
technology,
Rekindle.
to rekindle the technology between 1906 and
Six. X.
1909.
1906.
Between 1906 between 1906 and 1909, while still attending high school.
School.
Abner
High
Double
school.
high school,
Abner Double
while
and his three brothers.
attending high
High
school,
school.
Ab
School. School.
school, high
High
school,
school. Abner Double and
Abner
his three
Double
brothers
and his three brothers built
built their last steam
their
car
first steam car
in their
in their
parents'
parent
basement.
basement. It comprised parts taken from the wreck early steam car, but reconfigured to ride an engine of their own design. Though it did not run well, the double brothers went on to build a second and third prototype.
Nicknamed the Model B.
In the following year. No,
Wait, sorry.
prototype. In the following year,
Okay.
though the double boys' third prototypes, nicknamed the Model B,
Still
still
lacked the convenience.
still lack the convenience of an internal combustion engine. It drew the attention of automobile trade magazines due to its numerous improvements over previous steam cars. The Model B proved to be superior to gasoline automobiles. Gasoline
Automobiles in many ways.
Gasoline automobile in many ways. To be superior to gasoline gasoline automobiles in many ways. Its high pressure steam through the engine piston. The engine piston in virtual silent in contrast to clattering gas engines which emitted the aroma.
Yes, very good. The aroma of burned hydrocarbons.
But burn hydrocarbon.
Of burned hydrocarbons. Perhaps most impressively,
burned hydrocarbon. Perhaps most impressively,
the Model B was amazingly
the
swift.
Model B was amazingly swift. It could accelerate. It could accelerate from zero to 60 miles. From 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 15 seconds. A feat described a remarkable acceleration
by Automobile Magazine in
remarkable acceleration by Automobile Magazine in 1914. In 1914.
Okay, let's try D. The following year, Abner double.
The following year, Abner double drove the Model B from
Massachusetts to Detroit.
From Massachusetts to Detroit in order to seek investment in his automobile design. Which he used to open the General Engineering Company. The General Engineering Company. He and his brother immediately began working on the Model C, which were intended to expand, which were intended to expand upon the innovation. the innovation upon the innovation of the Model B. The browsers added features such as a key-based ignition, a key-based
ignition,
ignition, a
ignition, ignition,
key-based
ignition,
ignition in the cabin, eliminating the need
eliminating, eliminating,
eliminating the need for the operator to manually ignite the boiler. With this enhancement with these enhancements, the double new car company promised a steam
yes,
vehicle a steam vehicle which would provide all of the convenience of a gasoline car, but with much greater speed.
but with much greater speed.
But much with
But
but
with
with
much greater
but
speed.
with but with much
Much greater speed.
great
Greater.
but with
Much greater speed.
greater speed.
Okay, but with much greater
But
speed.
with much greater
Greater
speed.
speed.
But with much greater speed.
Much
But
simpler driving
with
controls.
much greater speed. Much
Simpler
simpler
driving
driving
controls.
control. Much
Controls. Không
simpler.
có ồn nha, không có
Much
ồn nha.
simpler.
Controls. Controls.
Control.
Ow,
Control.
ow, ow, ow. Controls.
Control.
Không có
Control.
control, trôn nha.
Control.
Controls, controls, controls.
Control. 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 And a virtually silent power plant. By the following April, the general engineering company had received 5,390 deposits for double destroys.
For double Detroits, which was
For double
scheduled,
Detroits,
which was scheduled for delivery.
Which was scheduled for delivery. Which was scheduled for delivery in early 1918.
Okay, very good.
The following year, Abner Double drove the Model B from Massachusetts to Detroit in order to seek investment in his automobile design, which he used to open the General Engineering Company. He and his brothers immediately began working on the Model C, which were intended to expand
upon the innovations
the innovation of the Model B. The brothers added
features.
The brothers added features such as a key-based ignition in cabin, eliminating the need of the operator to manually ignite the boiler. With these enhancements, the double new car company promised a steam vehicle, vehicle,
Vehicle, không có vì hai cầu ha.
vehicle, a
Vehicle,
steam
vehicle,
vehicle,
vehicle.
a steam vehicle which would provide all of the convenience of a gasoline car, but with much greater speed, much simpler driving control, uh, and a virtually silent power plant. By the following April, the General Engineering Company had received 5,390 deposits for double Detroits, which was scheduled for delivery in early 1918. The following year, Abner Double drew the Model B from Massachusetts to Detroit in order to seek investment in his
Y kéo dài to
automobile
seek
design.
investment. In order to seek,
To
y kéo dài
seek,
to seek,
to seek,
seek,
to seek,
to
in
seek
order to seek,
investment.
to seek, in order to seek investment in his automobile
Design.
in his automobile design, which he used to open the General Engineering Company. He and his brothers immediately began working on the Model C, which were intended to expand upon the innovation of the Model B. The brothers added features such as a key bay ignition in the cabin, eliminating the need for the operator to manually ignite the boiler.
Ignite.
Ignite.
No, ignite.
Ignite.
The
To
boiler.
manually ignite the
To
boiler.
manually ignite the boiler.
To manually ignite
The
the boiler.
boiler. The boiler.
Boiler. The boiler.
Boiler. The boiler.
To manually ignite the boiler. With this enhancement, the double new car company promised a steam vehicle which would provide all of the convenience of a gasoline car, but with much greater speed, with simpler driving control, with a virtually silent power plant. By the following April, the General Engineering Company had received 5,390 deposits for double Detroit, which was scheduled for delivery in early 1918. So maybe one more time. The following year, Abner Double drew the Model B from Massachusetts.
Drove the Model B.
Abner Double drove the Model B from Massachusetts to Detroit in order to seek investment in his automobile design, which he used to open the General Engineering Company. He and his brother immediately began working on the Model C, which were intended to expand upon the innovation of the Model B. The browsers added features such as a key by ignition in the cabin,
Ignition.
ignition, such as a key-based ignition in the cabin, eliminating the need for the operator to manually ignite the boiler. With this enhancement, the double new car company promised
Promise.
a uh, the double new car company promised a steam vehicle which would provide all of the convenience of a gasoline car with the much greater speed, much simpler driving controls, much simpler driving controls,
Much simpler driving controls.
much simpler driving controls, and a virtually silent power plant. By the following April, the General Engineering Company had received 5390 deposits for double Detroits, which was scheduled for delivery in early 1918. Okay, maybe let's see.
Okay, let's do E. Later that year,
Abner Double delivered unhappy news
unhappy news
to those eagerly awaiting. Later that year, Abner Double delivered unhappy news to those eagerly awaiting the delivery of their modern new cars. Those buyers who received a handful of completed cars complained that the vehicles were sluggish and erratic, were sluggish and erratic, were sluggish and erratic,
No, erratic nhớ âm hai. Was
erratic,
sluggish and erratic.
sluggish and erratic, sluggish and erratic, sluggish and erratic, sluggish and erratic. Sluggish was sluggish and erratic. That vehicles were sluggish and erratic, sometimes going in reverse when they should go forward. The new engine designed though
Innovative.
innovative,
Innovative.
though innovative, was still flag with
Was still plagued.
flagged
With serious glitches. Was
with,
still plagued with serious glitches.
which was still flagged
With serious glitches.
with serious glitches.
Glitches.
With serious glitches. Later that year, Abner Double delivered unhappy news to those eagerly awaiting the delivery of their modern new cars. Those buyers who receive the handful of completed cars complained that the vehicles
The
were
vehicle, the
sluggish.
vehicle.
The vehicle was the vehicles were sluggish and erratic.
Erratic.
Erratic was sluggish and erratic.
Erratic. Erratic.
The vehicles were sluggish and erratic and erratic, sluggish and erratic, sometimes go in reverse. Sometimes go in reverse when they should go forward.
When they should go
The new
forward.
engine design, though innovative, was still flagged, still flagged with chirrut glitches.
Đọc lại đi anh, please. Cái câu vừa rồi nó không rõ ràng. I can't
Cái
understand
từ
very well.
flag
Please do
này
it
đọc
again.
sao cho anh xem cái,
Flagged.
cho anh xem cái phiên âm
Serious
từ
glitches. Okay. Now, where's the glitches? Ah, there we go. The new engine design, though innovative, những âm đầu, innovative, was
though
still
innovative,
plagued.
plague,
Plagued.
plague,
Tại vì plague là cái dịch bệnh đó, thì động từ một dạng tính từ plagued là đầy nhóc, bị dính đầy những cái gì đó. Was still plagued with serious glitches. Plagued. Tại vì sao? Nó có xu hướng kéo dài ra cho nên là rung lên, cho nên là d. Plagued. Was still plagued. Was still plagued. Let me check this word. It's plague.
Oh, plague.
Nhưng mà nó sẽ là cái dạng nè, nó có ei, nó cũng có cái hướng kéo dài ra, cho nên là kiểu gì mà chẳng rung lên, cho nên plagued. Yes.
Plague. Cho anh xem cái
Plagued.
nơi trốn là place.
Nó là place.
Như
Nó
vậy
chỉ
khác
khác cái
nhau.
âm cuối mà thôi à.
G, as, place,
Nó chỉ khác
place,
âm cuối thôi. Cho nên trong tiếng Anh âm cuối quan trọng cực kỳ.
plague,
Place hay là plagued. Was still plagued. Was still plagued with serious glitches.
So
Was still plagued. Was still plagued with serious
was
glitches.
still plagued, 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 plagued. Now, the new engine design, though innovative, was still plagued with serious glitches. The new engine design, though innovative, was still plagued with serious glitches. Later that year, Abner Double delivered unhappy news to those eagerly awaiting the delivery of their modern new cars. Though those buyers who received the handful of completed cars complained that the vehicles were sluggish and erratic.
Erratic.
The vehicles were sluggish and erratic. Was sluggish and erratic. Was sluggish and erratic. Was sluggish and erratic. Sometimes go in reverse when they should go forward. The new engine design, though innovative, was still slugged with serious glitches.
With serious glitches. Gala, 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 gala. Glitches, glitches, glitches.
Glitches. Later that year, Abner Double delivered unhappy news to those eagerly awaiting the delivery of their modern new cars. Those buyers who received the handful of completed cars complained that the vehicle was sluggish and erratic.
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 Nhớ âm hai anh.
Was
Erratic, erratic,
was
erratic.
sluggish and erratic. That vehicles were sluggish and erratic, sometimes going in reverse when they should go forward. The new engine design, though innovative, was still flagged, pl- pla- plagued, was still plagued with serious glitches.
Glitches. Serious glitches.
Glitches.
Serious glitches. Serious glitches.
Serious glitches.
Okay, let's
The new
do
engine design.
let's take a break now, please.
Okay.
Okay, let's try E again. Later that year, and then the new engine design, though innovative,
Though innovative,
Eva,
was still plagued.
innovative,
Though innovative,
was still
though
plagued,
innovative,
plagued,
was still
gada, GD,
plagued,
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 plagued, was still
plagued,
plagued, was still
plagued,
plagued with serious
plagued
glitches,
with serious glitches,
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 glitches, glitches, glitches,
glitches,
glitches, glitches,
glitches.
glitches, glitches.
The new engine design, though innovative, was still
Plagued with serious glitches.
plagued, plagued, plagued,
Plagued,
was still
plagued with serious
plagued,
glitches.
plagued, 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 plagued
With
with serious
serious
glitches.
glitches.
Okay. Later that year, Abner Double delivered unhappy news to those eagerly awaiting the delivery of their modern new cars. Those buyers who received the handful of completed
Completed
cars
cars complained that
complained that complained that the vehicle
we
ve-
are
ve-
go.
vehicle the
Go.
vehicle was sluggish. The vehicle
Was
was
sluggish, sluggish,
sluggish, sluggish and erratic.
erratic,
Erratic was sluggish
sluggish and erratic,
and erratic.
erratic, erratic,
Erratic,
erratic,
erratic,
erratic, erratic.
sluggish and erratic, sluggish and erratic was was sluggish and erratic, sometimes going in reverse when they should go forward. The new engine design, though innovative, was still plagued with serious glitches. Later that year, Abner Double delivered unhappy news to those eagerly awaiting the delivery of their modern new cars. Those buyers who received the handful of completed cars complained that the vehicles were sluggish and erratic, sometimes going in reverse when they should go forward. The new engine design, though innovative, was
Still
still
plagued
plagued with serious glitches. The new engine design, though innovative, was still plagued with serious glitches. The new engine design, though innovative,
was
was
still
still
plagued
plagued
with serious
with
glitches.
serious glitches.
Okay, F. The brothers made one final attempt.
The brothers made one final attempt to produce
A
to produce
viable steam
to
automobile.
produce a viable
Produce.
produce
To
to
produce.
produce to
Produce.
produce a vehicle
A
viable
viable
viable to produce a viable steam automobile. A viable steam automobile in early 1924. The double brothers shipped a Model E to
shipped
shipped
âm tê nha.
shipped
Shipped a Model
shipped.
E to New York City.
The double brothers shipped a Model E to New York City to be road tested
To be
by
road
the
tested.
automobile club.
Road tested.
To be road
Road tested
to
by
be road tested by the
tested to be
automobile
road
club.
tested by the Automobile Club of America.
To be road tested by
Tested.
the automobile club of America. So in early 1924, the double browser shipped a Model E to New York City to be road tested
To be
by
road tested. To be
to be
road
to
tested.
be road tested by
Tested.
the
Road tested.
by
Road tested.
to be road tested to be road tested to be road tested by the Automobile Club of America. After sitting overnight in freezing temperatures, the
Temperature.
car
Temperature. Temperature.
was
Temperature.
temperature
Temperature. Temperature.
temperature,
Temperature.
yeah, in freezing temperatures.
Temperatures. In freezing temperatures. Nó phải rõ ràng là
In
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 freezing. Ý kéo
freezing
dài.
in
In
freezing
freezing
in
temperatures.
freezing temperatures in freezing temperature after sitting overnight in freezing temperatures.
The
The
car was
car
pushed
was pushed
out.
out. The car was pushed out into the road and left to sit for over an hour in the frothy morning air. So after sitting overnight in freezing temperatures, the car
Temperatures.
was pushed out into the road and left to sit for over an hour in the frothy morning air. At the turn
Frosty in the frosty morning air.
in the frosty morning air. At the turn up the key, the boiler the boiler the
The
boiler
boiler.
lit
The
and
boiler.
read the boiler lit and read its operating pressure inside of 40 seconds. At the turn of the key, the boiler lit and reached its operating pressure inside of 40 seconds. As they drew the test vehicle further, they found that its evenly distributed weight lent it surprisingly good handling. So, as they drew the test vehicle further, they
As they
found that
drove, phải rõ ràng, as
they
they
drove
drove the test vehicle further.
drove the
Drove, as they drove the test vehicle
drove
further. Nó phải rõ ràng như
drove
vậy anh.
as they drove
As it,
as
as they
as
drove
as they drove the test vehicle further, they found that its evenly distributed weight lent it surprisingly good handling, even though it was so heavy. As the new double steamer was further developed and stated its maximum speed, was put to over 100 miles per hour. Its maximum speed was put to over 100 miles per hour,
100
and it
miles,
achieved
100 miles,
100 miles per hour, and it achieved about 15 miles per gallon and kerosene per gallon of
per gallon.
kerosene is it correct? Kerosene or kerosene. The last sentence
Achieve 15 miles per gallon of kerosene with negligible emissions. Kerosene with negligible. Nhưng mà hai, negligible. No, no.
emissions.
Negligible. Neglect. Đến từ động từ neglect. Bỏ rơi giống như là bỏ bê. Neglect thì là negligible. It's negligible.
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 Những âm đầu hả?
Negligible.
It's negligible. It's negligible. Hình như negligible nó kỳ kỳ. Negligible những âm đầu. Negligible. It's negligible with negligible emissions. Negligible emissions.
Negligible emission. Kerosene with negligible emissions. So, and it achieved about 15 miles
Per
per
gallon of
gallon
kerosene.
of kerosene with negligible emission.
Negligible emissions. Yes, let's try again. The brothers made one.
The brothers make one final attempt to produce a viable steam automobile.
Automobiles.
To produce a viable steam automobile. In early 1924, the double brothers shipped a Model E to New York City to be road tested by the Automobile Club of America. After sitting overnight in freezing temperatures. The car was pushed out into the road, and left to sit for over an hour in the frosty morning air. At the turn of the key, the boiler
Giờ là sao anh?
lit.
Giờ là sao?
The boiler lit and reached its operating pressure inside the 40 second. As they drove the test vehicle further, they found that its evenly distributed weight lent it surprisingly good handling, even though it was so heavy. As the new double steamer was further developed and tested, its maximum speed were put to over 100 miles per hour, and it achieved about 15 miles.
Achieve là sao anh? Âm cuối. It achieved.
Achieved.
Achieve. Achieved.
Achieved.
Achieved. Achieved.
It
Achieved.
And it
Achieved về đề. It achieved.
It achieved.
About
It
15
achieved.
miles
It achieved about 15 miles
per gallon
per
of
gallon.
kerosene.
Yep, of kerosene with
Negligible.
Negligible emissions. Negligible emissions. And it achieved about 15 miles per gallon of kerosene with negligible emissions. With negligible emission. It achieved about 15 miles per gallon of kerosene with negligible emissions. And a new double steamer was further developed and tested.
Tested
and tested. Its maximum speed was pushed to over 100 miles per hour, and it achieved about 15 miles per gallon of kerosene with negligible emissions. So the brothers make one final attempt to produce a viable steam automobile. In early 1924. Again, the
double brothers
make one final attempt to produce a viable steam automobile. In early 1924, the double brothers shipped a Model E. The double brothers shipped a Model E to New York City to be road tested by the Automobile Club of America. After sitting overnight in freezing temperatures, the car was pushed down into the road and left to sit for over an hour in the frosty morning air. At the turn of the key, the boiler lit and reached its operating pressure inside of 40 seconds. As they drove the test vehicle further, they found that it's evenly distributed weight, evenly distributed weight lent it surprisingly good handling, even though it was so heavy. As the new double steamer was further developed and tested, its maximum speed was pushed to over 100 miles per hour, and it achieved about 15 miles per gallon of kerosene with
negligible emissions.
negligible emission.
Okay, let's try G now. Sadly,
the doubles
bây giờ hoài.
sadly
The doubles brilliant steam car.
sadly the double brilliant steam
Brilliant steam car.
brilliant the double brilliant steam car
Never was a financial
a
success.
financial success.
Financial success.
Never was a financial success. Financial success was a financial success. Price cái này đọc là đi đúng hay là thi nhỉ? Price
Priced.
Priced at around $18,000 in 1924. So, sadly, the double brilliant steam car never was a financial success. Priced at around $18,000, priced at around $18,000 in at around $18,000 in 1924. It was popular only among the very wealthy, but
only among the very wealthy.
Among the very wealthy, but it is said that no two models were quite the same because of the double tinkered because Abner double tinkered endlessly
Tinkered endlessly.
Tinker because Abner double tinkered and endlessly.
No, endlessly. Tinkered
endlessly because Abner double tinkered Abner double tinkered endlessly with the design. By the time the company folded in 1931, fewer than 50 of
Folded
the
nha. By the time the company folded.
folded in. By the time the company folded in 1931, fewer than 50 of the amazing Model E steamer cars
Fewer than
had
50 of the amazing. The amazing.
the amazing
The amazing. The amazing.
then
The
50
amazing.
of the amazing model.
The amazing Model
The
E.
amazing.
No. Careful. Fewer than 50 of the amazing
Oh,
Model
the
E.
amazing. The amazing. Fewer than 50 of the amazing Model E steamer cars had been produced. So, by the time the company folded in 1931, fewer than 50 of the amazing Model E steamer car had been produced for his whole career until his death in
Until his
19
death. Âm cuối anh ơi. Until his death.
death
Until
until
his
his
death.
death
Death.
until his death until his death in 1961. In 1961, so for his whole career until his death in 1961, Abner Double remained Damon remain a Damon that steam
Remain là
power
gì? Remain là gì?
demand in 1961
61. Abner Double
Abner
remained
Double remained
adamant. I think adamant.
adamant
Adamant đúng rồi. Không thể nào thuyết phục được. Impossible to persuade.
Adamant
Remain adamant that steam-powered automobiles
remain adamant that steam-powered automobiles were at least equal to gasoline cars. For his whole career until his death in 1961, Abner Double remained adamant that steam-powered automobiles were at least equal to gasoline cars, if not superior. Given the evidence, he may have been right. Many of the Model E Double which have survived are still in good working condition.
Some having been driven.
Some having been driven over 500,000 miles with only normal maintenance astonishingly
Astonishingly unmodified. Cái từ gốc nó là modified. Cho nên là unmodified model.
Unmodified.
Unmodified. Unmodified. Double model
Yeah.
E.
Astonishingly, and unmodified. Astonishingly,
Astonishingly.
Unmodified double model E runs clear enough to pass the emissions law.
Clean enough to pass the emission laws in
Runs
California
clean
today.
enough to pass the emissions laws in
California today.
In California today. In California.
California.
California. In California. In California today. So and they are pretty strict. And they are pretty strict.
Pretty. They're pretty strict. They're pretty strict.
And they are pretty strict. It is true that
the technology poses
some difficult problems, but they cannot help but wonder how efficient a steam car might be with the benefit of modern materials and computers under the current pressure to improve automobile. No,
Wait, to improve automotive performance.
To improve automotive performance and reduce emissions, it is not unthinkable that the steam car may rise again. Sadly, the double brilliance steam car never was a financial success, priced at around $18,000 in 1924. It was popular only among the very wealthy, plus it is said that no two Model Es were quite the same because Abner Double tinkered endlessly. Because Abner Double
tinkered endlessly with the design.
Because Abner Double tinkered endlessly. Tinkered. Because Abner Double tinkered endlessly. Because Abner Double tinkered endlessly with the design. By the time the company founded in 1931, fewer than 50 of the amazing Model E steam cars had been produced. For his whole career until his death in 1961
60, mở rộng miệng anh. 60, bành miệng ra.
until his
61.
until his death
1961.
until his death until his death in 1961 in 1961 in 1961 in 1960 in 1960 in 1961 in 1961 so in 1961 until his death in 1961 Abner Double remained adamant that steam-powered automobiles were at least equal to gasoline cars, if not superior. Given the evidence, he may have been right. Many of the Model E Double, which have survived, are still in good working condition, some having been driven over 500,000 miles with only normal maintenance. Astonishingly, unmodified. Astonishingly, an unmodified double Model E runs clear enough to pass the emissions laws in California today. Câu này nhắn khó. Astonishingly, an unmodified
Astonishingly,
an unmodified double Model E runs clearly enough to pass the emissions laws in California today, and they are pretty strict.
strict.
And they are pretty strict. It is true that the technology poses some difficult problems, but they cannot help but wonder how efficient. But they cannot help but wonder how efficient a steam car might be with the benefit of modern materials and computers. But they cannot help but wonder how efficient a steam car might be with the benefit of modern materials and computers under the current pressure to improve automotive performance, to improve automotive performance and reduce emission. It is not unthinkable that the steam car might rise ahead again.
Okay, let's try once again. Let's try once again from E. Later that year,
Abner Double delivered unhappy news to those eagerly awaiting the delivery of their modern new cars. those buyers who received the handful of completed cars complained that the vehicles were sluggish and erratic,
Erratic.
sometimes
Erratic.
erratic,
Sluggish.
sluggish,
Sluggish and erratic.
sluggish, and erratic,
Erratic.
erratic, sluggish, and erratic. Sluggish and erratic, sometimes going in reverse when they should go forward. The new engine design, though innovative, was still plagued with serious glitches. The brothers make one final attempt to produce a viable steam automobile.
Automobiles.
To produce a viable steam automobile. In early 1924, the double brothers
Giờ
shipped
nữa, lại giờ rồi, lại giờ rồi.
the
In early 1924.
In early 1934, the double brothers shipped a Model E to New York City to be road tested by the Automobile Club of America. After sitting overnight in freezing temperature, the car was put down into the road and left to sit for over an hour in the frosty morning air. At the turn of the key, the boiler lit and reached its operating pressure inside the 40 seconds. As they drove the test vehicle further, they found that its evenly distributed weight lent it surprisingly good handling, even though it was so heavy. As the new double steamer was
further developed and tested.
As the new double steamer was further developed and tested, its maximum speed and pushed to over 100 miles per hour, and it achieved about 15 miles per gallon of kerosene of negligible.
Negligible.
With negligible emissions, and it achieved about 15 miles per gallon of kerosene with negligible emission, and it achieved about 15 miles per gallon of kerosene with negligible emissions. Sadly, the double brilliant steam car never was a financial success, priced at around $18,000 in 1924. It was popular only among the very wealthy. Yes.
The very wealthy.
It was popular only among the very wealthy. Plus, it is said that no two Model Es were quite the same, because after double tinkered endlessly with the design, By the time the company founded in 1931, fewer than 50 of the amazing Model E steam cars had been produced for his whole career until his death in 1961. Abner Double remained adamant that steam power automobiles were at least equal to gasoline car. So sadly, the double brilliant steam car never was a financial success, priced at around $18,000 in 1924. It was popular only among the very wealthy. Plus, it is said that no two Model Es were quite the same because Abner Double tinkered endlessly with the design. By the time the company founded in 1931, fewer than 40 of the amazing Model E steam cars had been produced. For his whole career, until his death in 1961, Abner Double remained Abner Double remained adamant that steam power automobile was Abner Double remained adamant
Yes.
for his whole career. Wait, okay. For his whole career
until
until his death in 1961. Abner Double remained adamant that steam power automobiles were at least equal to gasoline cars, if not superior. Given the evidence, he may have been right. Many of the Model E Double which have survived are still in good many of the Model E's doubles which have survived are still in good working condition. Some having been driven over driven have been having some having been driven over 500,000 miles with only normal maintenance. Astonishingly, an unmodified double Model E runs clearly enough to pass the emissions laws in California today, and they are pretty strict. It is true that the technology poses some condition problems, but they could not have, but they wonder how efficient a steam car might be with the benefit of modern materials and computers. Under the current pressure to improve automotive performance and reduce emissions, it is unthinkable that the steam car may rise again. Okay.
Okay. Oh,
Okay.
I think let's stop
I
here.
want to try the last sentence here.
Okay, last sentence.
Yeah.
Under the
Astonishingly.
current.
No,
Fine.
From astonishingly and unmodified.
Astonishingly.
Astonishingly and unmodified
Double model E.
double model E runs clear enough to pass the emissions laws in California today, and they are pretty strict. It is true that the technology poses some difficult problems, but they cannot help. But they wonder how efficient a STEM car might be with the benefit of modern material and computers under the current pressure to improve automotive performance to reduce emissions. It is not unthinkable that the steam car may rise again. Okay, yeah. Because sometimes we have to put strength on
Pronunciation is so important, so super important. Oh my God. And this country needs it the most, but they don't realize that they need it the most.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll probably see you on well, today's Friday. I'll probably see you on Tuesday then. I'll see you then.
Okay, see you then. Okay,
See you.
bye-bye.
Have a nice day.
Yeah, you too.